Brent, I wanted to ask you about geofencing, and it's a big topic. It's broader than geofencing, but the technology that you guys are have been really pioneering, innovating on. What are the applications around this CTV, OTV world, and sort of how has that been developing?
Yeah, so certainly it started off with the buzz around geofencing and then utilizing that to be a little bit more efficient with budgets, more targeted on physical locations, knowing where your audience is at, and if they're there, well, hey, I want to be able to serve them ads and get in front of them. And so kind of the evolution now and the progression of things, is even in certain platforms, certain DSPs like a Simplify, and utilizing their tech, what they've done is created not only the standard geofencing, but addressable geofencing where you can get down to the plat lines of households and layer on demographic targeting and reach those folks, across multiple channels, including the OTT and CTV, especially, this day and age, a lot of people are home more often, they're streaming more. So just such a powerful tool in a marketing mix for someone to utilize and get in front of their audience.
So, for folks who don't know about geofencing, and we've heard about it for many years, could you just give a quick explanation?
Sure. So ultimately, in an ad tech platform, what you're able to do is draw and create virtual fences around physical locations. So say you're a car dealer and you want to get in front of someone who's in market trying to buy a car. So you could potentially create these virtual fences around your competitor dealerships, and in knowing that they're actually out looking at multiple lots, wanting to get a car, and you can actually create the virtual fence, a geofence around that location, and ultimately create audience pools based on mobile device IDs and retarget those folks and get in front of them with your brand and your ad, to ultimately try to get a sale or convert.
So, not to get too deep in the weeds, but how do you guys derive that data?
Ultimately, it stays, within the different ad tech platforms. So within their technology and having access to it, they house all that. But what it allows us to do is utilize the technology to then serve ads, programmatically, and get in front of the various, groups of people that our clients want to obviously get to, and knowing they physically are going to these locations, it's just a very, very efficient way for them.
So, Brent, walk us through a little bit about a typical client. I mean, there's no client that's typical, but a client comes to you with a particular need, how you sort of work that through, and how you work with a DSP in terms of the buy.
Yeah, certainly. And part of it, and again, with geofencing, a lot of buzz around it. And, for a while there, more or less, getting to some of these ad tech platforms and being able to utilize custom polygons or create these fences and utilize, a DSP like a Simplify, you had to meet monthly minimums. So typically it was confined to big brands, agencies that had the dollars. But over time, and especially for us as an agency, just being able to meet that in aggregate, that's opened the door a lot more, especially for us to serve a lot of smaller businesses, clients, and even agency partners. So in doing that and knowing how popular and hot of a topic it is, we see it very often. And that's where we've really grown and really helped a lot of companies. Is they come to us and say, hey, explain geofencing to us. And maybe they come to us and say, hey, we see all in the market, see everything you're doing. We had a bad experience with geofencing. So really, how does this work? Or we've tried it on our own, maybe with Facebook. What is this all about? So in doing that, we really can walk them through in more detail than when I kind of prefaced today, but you can walk and talk through how it works, really truly understanding the technology. It's not push notifications. It's not beacon tech, but knowing too, you can be very efficient, even if you have smaller dollars, like a small business, needing to squeeze every bit out of that. But so we talk through that, but also then we're very transparent and forward in saying it's a tactic. I mean, it's not an end all be all. It's not going to solve all your marketing woes, but it is certainly a very powerful tactic. It's a great tactic for reach and awareness. But, oh, by the way, I think in terms of a total marketing plan, here's the media mix we'd recommend by way of, hey, let's kick it off with geofencing. But hey, you need to look at site retargeting or maybe some other tactics programmatically, or even, hey, if you're not doing pay-per-click or paid social, you got to consider that and really walk them through an overall picture of what that looks like.
So, and finally, Brent, we've been talking about addressable TV. That's a big part of what we cover at BTV, and household addressability. It's kind of a holy grail, I guess. And in summary, what role does geofencing and your agency play in addressability for OTT, and where might that go?
Yes, great question. And that's just been an amazing progression with geofencing because, from the standard geofencing of creating these polygons on, physical brick and mortars, car dealerships, etc. Now what's happened and certain ad tech platforms have evolved to where we can actually upload up to 1 million physical addresses and then geofence households down to the plat lines of the home. And so you think about how powerful that is if a client has a CRM, database, or they have a mailer that went out and they want to reach those same folks digitally and keep a top of mind presence beyond just that one-off mailer. That's very powerful for them, and you can certainly do that. So from that standpoint, it's been amazing, but also beyond just straight direct to mobile now with identity graphs and cross device matching. You're reaching those folks not only on their mobile device, but you may be reaching them now on their laptop, their tablet, and then now the OTT and CTV, and getting in front of them from all angles. So it's just very powerful and again, very efficient to where you're not having to necessarily buy, say, full DMA. You can really hone in and even utilize projection tools to make sure you can scale and have a really, really powerful campaign with good results.